This is Battlefield 6, code provided by Xbox. We're here on Xbox Series S. Be sure to like the video, subscribing. It's pretty awesome. It's time for the blurriness, the low resolution that is Battlefield 6 on Xbox Series S. So we're splitting this between the campaign and then the multiplayer, so you can see both sides of the action and the experience if you're playing the latest Battlefield experience on your Series S console. Where, you know, the console is trying its best. Definitely a noticeable visual bump down compared to what we had with 2042, which is quite interesting, and yeah, kind of an interesting showcase here. So in the campaign, you are playing as a squad with different levels, having you take on different characters and switching the perspectives. For instance, right now we're playing as Gecko, and we are the bit of the sniper of the squad. Personalities-wise, they're pretty similar, and it's mostly down to... well, I guess even then, it's like the weapon is literally just... you know, it could be changed in any particular mission, so it's not really specialties or anything that define them, but anyways, it's an option that's here. And yeah, as you play the missions, you get to play different characters, and you're sort of in this war scenario between PMC group, PAX, versus NATO in what is the most American patriotic Battlefield game ever conceived. And yeah, it's just basically America versus this PMC group, with some twists and turns along the way, in what is about a 5-hour campaign. It's okay. Well, nah, it's kind of a terrible campaign, but it's an okay length. It's about the usual length you would expect from a shooter campaign, especially a Battlefield 1. It's reminiscent of Battlefield 3, if you're familiar with that entry in the franchise, and it's just kind of like sort of a Call of Duty greatest hits thing thrown into a Battlefield title with the framing of a story done from the perspective of you're at the end of the story, and then you're doing flashbacks to see the missions. It's supposed to blow up here, that's why I'm kind of watching here, so they're really taking their time. There we go, kaboom, right? Yeah, it should be any second here. Awesome, right? I know. Oh, wow, yeah, look at that. At least you get the full sense of destruction here on the Series S, so that's a little satisfying. Yeah, it's okay. There's different difficulties. Well, like, actually, again, I didn't really think it was very good, but, you know, it's fine working through it. It's not too hard. There's different difficulty challenges. There's different collectibles to find. A selection of missions that take you on to some different locations across the globe, sort of. Yeah, that's one element with this game, is you are sort of playing in the same locations, whether you're doing multiplayer or campaign. It's basically Brooklyn, Cairo, and the Rock here in Kyrgyzstan, which I'll never say that correctly. But, you know, you get what you got. Anyways, the campaign... it's not too hard to work through. It's a bunch of set pieces. A lot of it is cinematics. Some of it gameplay. It's a very jarring transition sometimes between, you know, gameplay and cinematics and stuff, which is kind of funny. And it's just a bunch of linear set environments that you're kind of going through, shooting a bunch of AI that just kind of stand around and wait for you to kind of go in and do things. And got some funny bugs here or there. There's no jet levels, which is a little disappointing. And I don't know, it's playable. It's just kind of mundane, a little boring, which is disappointing. Let's talk about the technical details here. So in the Series S, we only have the one visual mode. You got no options or choices. So it is just literally, it's targeting 1080p. It's more like 600-ish p most of the time. It's 60 FPS, which is good. But yeah, it's not really... It's not really a looker, if that makes sense. Like, it is quite blurry. It is definitely, you know, it's not it's what you expect from a Series S, honestly. Especially this many years into the generation. It's not too shocking. Like, you get the full geometry, you get the full world, you get the damage, you get the chaos. It's playable, for sure. Yeah, definitely. Like, it's not bad, but it is, I guess, to a degree, a little disappointing coming from 2042, which I remember being a little sharper looking. But I guess, obviously, technology advancements and more challenging geometry and whatnot, and a little bit more destruction, or, well, more like the facade of destruction. Destruction, honestly, doesn't really... In the campaign, it's a little bit more present, but in the multiplayer, it's more like a facade, as opposed to, like, meaningful environmental destruction. But yeah, it does. It gets quite blurry at times. Okay, there's also HDR support, spatial sound, Dolby Atmos, DTSX, which is intriguing. There are some additional visual setting options. Go to graphics. Yeah, we've got FOV, vehicle, FOV options, weapon FOV stuff, chromatic aberration, film grain settings, so you get some FOV choices, which are the same as other platforms. There is audio settings, such as voice chat, and there's like a streamer mode I usually like to highlight. But that's just for hiding yourself online as opposed to anything audio-wise. And then there's mouse and keyboard support, controller support. And yeah, that's kind of what you're dealing with from a technical standpoint in this game. And, like, it works, you know, it's just, again, it's not really... It's not super impressive on Series S. Like, it's rough, but, you know, it works, and it gets the job done. The campaign's interesting. It's interesting from the perspective of, like, what it is. It's, like, something that would have been impressive during, like, the well, not impressive, it would have been okay during the 360 era. It was really dated, and sometimes there's, like, a lot of, like, low-res textures in areas, and those are even more apparent here on Series S, which is a bit rough. It's just something to play, like, it's just extra content. I mean, I think you can get away kind of skipping it entirely. I don't think you're really missing a whole lot, sadly, which is a bit of a disappointment, because this is the first proper Battlefield campaign in a long, long time, actually, if you think about it. Since Battlefield 4, because 2042 didn't have a campaign, and the Battlefield 1 and 5 opted for the war stories, which isn't really like one cohesive narrative. So yeah, it's probably about a decade since we've had, well, yeah, full-length actual cohesive campaign narrative, which is interesting, and it's just, it feels, I guess the phrase would be a little half-baked, is kind of the thing. It just... Oh wow, I actually got shot from the side. Where's my teammate at? Oh. You just kind of let these people just, like, walk right by? Are you gonna shoot some of these guys, or are you just gonna kind of watch me do all of the work? Okay. It's not the brightest selection of AI, that is for sure. Yeah. I don't know, I'm not really super impressed by the campaign. I think maybe some of the core fundamental things here are kind of intriguing. It's just like, it's very non-believable if you're trying to, you know, build up this PMC group. It's just the stakes and the war and stuff just felt a little silly. It felt like a lot of stuff that's already been done in other shooter games. I was just kind of like, I was pretty unimpressed by it, honestly. I really didn't find this campaign to be anything special or interesting, and it's not really something I think I'll remember in the long term, or even like the names of characters and stuff. But it's got some moments, it's got some things going on in it, and maybe you'll like that aspect of it, I guess. I don't know. But I think I am about ready to jump into the multiplayer. This is the multiplayer portion of the experience, where you have a number of different game modes and setups as you battle across a range of scenarios, map locations such as Brooklyn, Cairo, or Kyrgyzstan, and the like. You will be attempting to battle in modes such as the iconic Conquest, which is large-scale all-out war, Breakthrough, where you are smashing through various objectives, and other things, you know, Escalation, Back and Defend, or some smaller map scenario setups, such as like a Domination or King of the Hill scenario, which is interesting, alongside some secondary supporting game modes that people can choose from. And yeah, the multiplayer is largely solid. It provides a range of ways for you to battle, level, and improve your soldier, with some complex options for gun customization and personalization, operator selection, and other fine-tuning things such as your vehicles, just as Battlefield is traditionally set up around vehicle gameplay. Now, that being said, this game is quite small in scope. It is very infantry focused. It is something that you would call as the Call of Duty-ification of Battlefield. The maps are designed for tighter, narrow gameplay where they push you in more specific areas and setups as you face off in close quarters combat. There is a de-emphasis of vehicles. There are less players per team in certain game modes, and yeah, it's quite interesting, as the core gameplay here is completely fine. It runs well, it looks pretty pleasing. There's a lot going on. There's explosions and clutter and the facade of destruction in the environment as you see various things fall apart and buildings and stuff, but not really a meaningful level of destruction where you ever feel like you're actually carving out the map to create some sort of new tactical advantage. It's mostly about just taking out a little bit of cover, or I guess, I don't know, having a room sort of fall apart a little bit, but that's kind of all there is. Some modes fare better for vehicle stuff, such as Conquest, but even then you can't help but take a look at the large selection of map areas and see that most of them are just infantry-focused things. Even then, the maps themselves, I feel like I've played through all of them already many, many times over, because they're very similar aesthetically, and they take place in the same area. So unlike other Battlefield games where you have a launch selection of maps that take place in different areas all across the world, giving different levels of verticality and setup, this game's map setups are very, very structurally similar, and yeah, you definitely do feel that as you play this. It's yeah. I mean, again, it's okay. It's not bad. It's just maybe at times mundane. I feel like I've burned out of it. I've played an excessive amount of this, doing streams and videos on it, more than really anybody should. Play this game off the bat, and yeah, I'm just pretty burned out. That is for sure. But, it plays well. There's a nice setup for the structuring of classes. Rolling into your support class, or whatever specific structuring your particular chosen class offers. Everybody does different things. You have different gear that you can use to help people or assist your team as you attempt to win. And then, of course, a good focus of teamwork in attempting to gather objectives and progress as a squad across the objective-focused playlists that are present within this game. It works pretty well. It's nice to see classes have, focus. It's good to see that reviving is such a core element of this, as it actually keeps your team's morale kind of going. And yeah, it works out pretty well. It's got some really good, I would say, bones on it. Like, it's got a really good centered structural gameplay to it. I just wish it was more traditional for the styling of it. Larger scale maps, more vehicle action, stuff you kind of expect out of a Battlefield game. Whereas it does feel like it is very tight, close quarters, very COD-esque. It's still got a bit more scale than that series does, but you can't help but feel like they're sort of pushing towards that sort of a concept in order to grab some of that market share, which seems to be working and is really interesting, and I hope it doesn't necessarily fully impact the long term of this franchise, as I do like Battlefield for what it is, fighting these different eras and these different settings and these different scenarios. And that is kind of the worry, is that it's like just gonna remove the identity of Battlefield that I am so used to after decades of play. But good for them and the setup that they have compiled here with this entry. Now for Series S, this game honestly looks fine for the multiplayer. Like, it is, you know, we've got our one kind of default setting, as I highlighted during the technical part of the video. But I just wanted to mention from a multiplayer perspective, while it is blurrier in the distance and through some of the scenarios, it does seem to look okay. It looks to be clean and sharp enough for those that are going to be playing multiplayer and that across the different maps. I think you should be fine on Series S for multiplayer. I don't think it looks as rough as some of the single-player type stuff sort of does, but at the same time, your mileage is really going to vary depending on the types of maps you are playing. This map is, I would say, a little more demanding from the sense that it's like streets and you're sort of tight together, but, you know, larger maps, lots of stuff going on, potentially could be problematic, but that's more distance as it gets a little blurry. But for the most part, it looks fine here on the Series S for multiplayer. Absolutely fine. I don't think you're really gonna have too many complaints from that angle of play, which is good, you know. Because you want to have an experience that looks relatively nice and you can see things with clarity. That's a big thing, right? As you're shooting, battling, you need to visually be able to see things in a decent distance. But yeah, if you look way down, it does get significantly blurry, and that could be a problem if you are competing at a more serious level in this game, but it gets the job done. You get all the destruction, you get all the little bits, you get all the stuff here, a decent amount of the bells and whistles. It's perfectly adequate and okay for what Series S is, which is nice. And it doesn't seem to really have kind of any like technical kind of problems on top of that. Like, it does, you know, run fine on Series S and look relatively fine, which is good. So the multiplayer here is, it's fine, it's fun enough, it's okay, it's solid. Some people will like it more than others. If you are an old school Battlefield fan, you might be finding things a bit more claustrophobic than usual. I'm hoping with long-term support that this evolves further into something that resembles Battlefield experiences that I am more used to, or I guess comfortable with, or desire. Or maybe because they want to, I guess, potentially annualize this, they could very well be pushing towards making it this sort of style going forward, because it is so successful for them. We'll have to wait and see what kind of balance is striked, just because these games do tend to, in the modern era, evolve quite a bit as time goes on and as content releases and seasons happen, which is just kind of the expectation for games nowadays, to see how this one evolves and grows and changes. And I am very curious to see how that will be. I will probably not experience that through Series S, but for those that are, I wish you the best of luck, and hopefully everything continues to scale well for this version of the game, so that you can enjoy what Battlefield 6 has to offer for your particular console platform. And yeah, campaign, not great. Multiplayer, okay, fine. Overall, pretty solid experience in game as far as Battlefield goes. It's just, yeah, it is a little bit of a shame to see the identity of the series shift in a very different way than I would have anticipated. But, you know, that's how things need to grow, as evolve and change over time. and that is certainly what they have done so here.